Hi, so the purpose of the presentation today is to talk about Classroom Salon, and really it's an analytics-driven learning approach to flip learning, and mostly I'm going to share my experience with the audience. And my name is Ananda Gunawardhan. I'm faculty at Carnegie Mellon, now more recently at Princeton. I'm teaching computer science, and Norton Guskey is a technology evangelist who work with me on Classroom Salon. And I will take you through this presentation now. So the main idea of Classroom Salon, in fact, if you like to tweet any questions and things like that after this talk, during this talk, you can always send it to hashtag Classroom Salon 14. So the beginning, I'll talk about a little bit about the beginning of the project and also the platform, how to use Salon for flip classes and structuring your class, and the lessons learned and the Q&A. And it is the collaboration between computer science and humanities at Carnegie Mellon University. This project began, the Classroom Salon project, which is the tool for flip learning. And the goal was to build a system that can capture the thousands of user interactions in the context of the media. So that was important to us because if we can capture the user interactions, then we will be able to do a better flipped learning exercise in class. At CMU, we specialize in algorithmic details, such as once we get all these annotations, how do we aggregate and visualize these annotations to generate useful analytics for our flip classes. So our value of the system is that it's a system that can capture and analyze user interaction at a very granular level. It means you can understand where the students are highlighting things or which video frames they are paying attention. And there are 5 core values of Salon, which is important, and it's the effective student communication. We want to aggregate annotations, and social collaboration is important. Mostly we learn from other people, that's really important. And also self-organizing networks. These are very useful tools for flip learning classes. And also it should be driven by the analytics. Effective communication, meaning that regular discussion forums do not capture the granular details about the context, so you're always outside the context. But in Classroom Salon, if you're using your content, your discussions are happening in the context, so you can see some of the highlighted sections here, and if you click on it, you can see the discussion in the context, so it takes away all the overhead associated with finding the context for a particular discussion. Same thing is true in the videos. You can Classroom Salon automatically tag the videos to give you the context. One other important thing about the Classroom Salon tool is that when you put your readings on Classroom Salon, you get your students to do these readings before the flip class. Classroom Salon will show you the sort of dark areas. The dark areas meaning that there's more activity there, there's more discussion there. You can also filter these comments by, if you have a lot of students, in this case you have 44 students, I can say I only want to focus on these 12 or more students, the places annotated by 12 or more students, and those summaries or those things that are important can be used for my flip lesson planning. Social collaboration is important. In fact, we encourage deep conversations, and through discussion threads, we isolate these discussion threads from the content, but we still have a connection back into the content as the students are discussing this. So you can pull this context out of the content and then discuss them, but you still link back to the content. Another thing we recognized was that we can have assign groups to work together, but we never know which groups are going to be the best groups to work. And so we have a feature in Salon called self-organized learning networks, where any member can choose anyone they want to work with. It's only a choice is here more like a one-way following kind of thing, but we like students to choose each other, and you can use it in lots of different ways. The main purpose is that when the students see some students are worth following, they'll be able to put them into their network and start communicating with those students. That's the goal of making self-learning networks. It's analytics driven. We provide you with lots of data about what things are happening, the trends and other kinds of things that are important in designing your flipped classroom. In my experience, I have done flipped learning for a few semesters now. There are a few necessary components for flipped learning. Key is the student engagement. We have to figure out how to make the student do some work so we know what the students know and what the students don't know. Once we figure that out, then we can use the analytics to implement a flipped learning strategy. So that's also really important. So we can use this analytics to implement the flipped learning strategy. And the other thing that is important is you must reward students for active participation. We must give some rewards, some recognition to students who are participating in online discussions and so on, which is really, really important. Now, the Salon actually tried to measure a lot of different things that most other platforms cannot do, such as how engaging the student is. That can be measured by various algorithms using how many comments they make, what's the length of the comment, how frequently they make the comments, and so on. Helpful Index talks about how helpful they are to the other people by engaging in discussions and participating and so on. Thought Leader Index is also an important thing where when some students start discussions, other students seem to follow them, and they're thought leaders. They need to be recognized for their effort in making the whole class better. Consistency is also very important to measure in terms of measurement, which means that a student who makes 80 annotations a day is not as good as another student who may make 80 annotations in 10 days. So the consistency of how you spread out your learning is really important. That's an indication of your engagement with the class. We can also go into very low-level details, such as let's take a user and see how many comments the user made, what's the total comment length, how many questions this user is asking, and so on. There are so many different things you could do. And also you can look at the analytics based on tags if you're using tag level commenting. So this video, you have access to this video. If you just go to Classroom Salon, do a Google search, you'll be able to find these videos from Marcus Cruiser. Also, you can go to this website on YouTube and watch this video. Marcus is a professor from Villanova University who has used Salon, and he talks about how he used our Classroom Salon for various tasks that he couldn't do with other tools. Now, in my experience, I'm going to talk a little bit about my experience with flipped learning at Princeton. I joined Princeton as a visiting faculty and started teaching a special flipped section of their class. So this is a very popular class at Princeton, which is like an algorithms class. Many students like to take this class, and most people go into stock market or someplace after they take this class because they learn a lot of different tools that are very important in processing data. So what we did was we had a regular lecture, so that's one lecture, and then we have the flip lecture. So the students were able to choose between regular lecture and the flip lecture. We limited the flip lecture to only 30 students. We asked them to self-select, but we had a wait list. So a lot of more people wanted to take the flip lecture than those who didn't. What we did was we made the flip lecture structure the same as the regular lecture structure. So instead of the lecture slides, they had the videos. So they can click on this and it'll take you to a Classroom Salon and they can watch the video. We also put the lecture slides in there, in this case MOOC slides, because this course is a very popular course on Coursera. About 100,000 students actually take this class. We also created a little quiz, and this can be created in Blackboard or any course management system, and link it up here. We also gave some worksheets in class for the students to be engaged, and they were linked here. So all of the things they needed to know are here, given in this schedule. So what is the course structure like? The course meets twice a week. It's an 80-minute lecture. This is the traditional lecture. So we need to find something which is like the traditional lecture, but it is a flip lecture. So what we did was to create 2 sessions. The Monday session, we call it the film session. So the film session means we would put the students into a room and say, okay, you come to this room and you watch these videos and ask questions, do the things, but the instructor may or may not be there. The advantage you have is it's very social. You may find the other people show up to watch the video with you. So that kind of gave us the way to capture their attention in a room for 80 minutes. And if you do socially, it always makes sense, even if you're watching a video. Some can go fast, some can go slow, some can talk to other people, and so on. On Wednesday, we did a flip class. So what do they do on Monday? They watch the video lectures. Although it's not required for them to come to class on Monday, most of them did because of the social connections. And then also they respond to prompts and quizzes in Salon. And we required them to make at least 3 comments. That was important to establish some level of expectation. But we used very creative tags such as, if you see something interesting, highlight it and say, I find this interesting. If you see a video frame, highlight it and say, I find this interesting, or I want to know more about this, or I find this difficult. Or they can create their own tag to communicate that knowledge to us. So our flip class, most people think that flip classes cannot have a structure, but I do believe that flip classes need to have some structure in order for us to do this transition. It may not be very easy to just go from a regular class to a flip class when we don't know what the structure of the course is. So what we did was to create sort of like a mini lecture, which is 20 to 30 minutes. And we did 20 minutes of individual work and 30 minutes of group work. So that's how the 80-minute flip class on Wednesday is divided into. So one of the important things is that you have to set up the film session. So the students are doing film session on Monday. So we have to set it up. Setting up means that you want to take all the readings and all the videos that the students watch, and you want to put some questions into those things. You can easily do them into a specific places. You highlight and say, what do you think of this? Or you let them do it themselves. But you can at least have few prompts in the context for them, for you to get some information. When they watch videos, they would annotate something and say, oh, I find this interesting, and it will try to retain some level of a connection back to the original video location. So it'll be very smart in terms of determining what's the point that this thought came in. So that's part of the software, so we don't have to worry about that. But when you click on it, for the most part, when you read this comment and when you listen to the frame or the segment of the video, it should make sense to you for the most part. And we're working very hard to make that's the case. Now, the next part of the thing is that using annotation data, I have to do class preparation. So what I do is I go to, at the end of Monday, when the students have done all the annotations, I go to the documents and videos. I filter by tags. So for example, if I want to know reaction tags, like what are the questions, so I want to know what the questions are, I can go and filter and find all the questions. I can also look at very well-known students. So if I know these students are good students, maybe they ask really interesting questions that everyone can be interested in. So I can also filter by people and try to find out what individuals are asking. And one other thing I do is that I bookmark the comments so that it goes into the bookmark folder so that I can use them for class discussions. And I also recognize good comments, so thoughtful comments. So by recognizing that the students get the validation that the instructor liked their comment. So that feedback is very important to keep the engagement with the students, which can be done very, very quickly. I also find hotspots. So for example, I may decide to watch the video here, and I can synchronize the comments on the right with the video. As the video is playing, I know what the comments are. I can say, okay, that's the part I need to include in my mini lecture. This part is not too clear to the students. That's why you have a lot of comments here. Or it's very interesting, or students want to know more. That's why there are a lot of comments on it. I also do the same thing with the documents. So I look at the very dark places, red places. That means those are the areas of interest, confusion. I can just highlight it, filter all the comments for that particular section, and find important things to do. In fact, trust me that you will never run out of things to discuss in the flip class because you have so much data from annotations. And then I prepare the mini lecture. My recommendation is to keep it under 10 slides so we can cover this in 20 to 30 minutes. It covers only a subset of the topics, and student had trouble understanding or found interesting or asked for more details. So I can get all this data from the classroom Salon, and then I can create this 20 to 30 minute maybe interactive lecture, and then I can also answer questions on Salon during the mini lecture. So for example, I can look at some of the bookmark comments and I can reply to them during the lecture, and the students pay attention to those things. Especially if it's their comment, they are going to pay a lot of attention, and all people pay attention because I found it to be interesting and I'm going to respond to that. And the only bad thing about this kind of lecture preparation is that mini lectures you may not be able to reuse them, but you're only doing this for, based on the data from that particular class. So notice that I haven't really done a good job, formatting things or things like that, because I don't have a lot of time to do that. I just want to put a few slides so I can address the things that are important to address. So when I go to class on Wednesday, so first I do the mini lecture, then I give them an individual worksheet. So the idea is that the students will complete this in individual mode. In fact, I put this in Salon so they can write the answers without seeing other people's answers. I also encourage, if they want to remain anonymous, they can do that. So they don't have to, when I expose the answers to this individual worksheet, they don't have to be embarrassed. It's up to them to figure out whether they want to be anonymous or not. The third part of the in class is the group activity. So typically these are the past exam problems that are challenging that a group can solve. So I ask the students to choose their network and then try to solve them as a group. So they are just going to filter the comments by their network, and they'll start solving these problems. And then I encourage them after the class to revisit the Salon and access answers to the individual assignments. Remember that the students did their own assignment, but now I open it up so the students can see the responses given by the other students. They can respond to questions, ask more questions. All these good deeds will give them some points at the end. They can also complete the group activities after class. So it's all up to them on how much they want to engage after class. So to encourage the student engagement, you always have to provide some level of feedback. So what you can do is to export the Excel data sheet that contains a lot of different things about the student's engagement, and you can give them some feedback. You can give them a Salon grade. You don't have to tell them how you computed it, but you can say, here's your Salon grade. I like the way you're doing things. I give you an A, I give you a B minus, and so on. And then also what we did was, for the group work, we created a leaderboard so that, we encourage the groups to be competitive and work with other people. So it actually creates some level of competitive environment there. The networks try to do well to be on the top of the leaderboard. Now the leaderboards can be, we did this electronically, but you can always do this manually in lots of different ways. So in conclusion, the flip classes are fun and effective. I wouldn't recommend anyone who has 5 years or under teaching experience do a flip class, because you really have to know exactly what you're talking about. It's very challenging, but you have to be able to enjoy the class. You can't just go there and not enjoy the class. For that, you have to be an expert in the subject you're teaching. But what I found out was that we need to have the following components. We must prepare as an instructor, we can't just go to class without preparing. What we mean by prepare means that we have to put the prompts into Classroom Salon activities and then get the students to do things. And the students' responsibility is to do at least 3 annotations. And then as an instructor, I can use those annotations to create some level of mini lecture and other things. I'm using analytics to drive the class discussion, which I believe is the right thing. When I use analytics, I know exactly what I needed to do in class, and you will get the attention of the student because you're not going to cover something that the students think is trivial. I couldn't stay away from the structure, so I gave a mini lecture. I think mini lecture is a good idea. Still, a 20 to 30-minute lecture is fun and enjoyable. You can be very enthusiastic about some things that are interesting and students need to know more about. Making individual and group activities also made my class much more fun because individually assignments give them a sense of how they compare to the other people. Group gives them a sense of collaboration and solving problems together. It's very important to reward participation and good citizenship. Because it's online, you can find lots of people who may not talk in a live class to be very engaging in an online class. If you can, create a leaderboard for group competition because it's always people like to play games. Games sort of motivates young people, so I think it's very important. Allocate some points for the course grade. So for example, you should allocate at least 5 to 10% of the course grade for Salon related activities. And you don't have to say, you can keep them very vague in terms of, I'm going to give you points for being active, helpful, thoughtful, consistency. You can give a definition any way you like it, but Salon will help you find these things. And when we did the survey at the end of the semester, 100% of the students would take another flip class and would recommend the model to friends. And one thing we learned was that, you have this the top of the class. I mean, we gave them option to choose. So when you think of a regular class, you got the middle 50% here. I think surprisingly, what we got was the top 25%. These are the self-selected students, and also the lower 25% students. So both these groups, I think, can benefit a lot from flip learning. This also can do it, but I also think that this is the group that would be fine anyway in a regular lecture. But if you think about learning gains and fun and all the other things, I think the middle 50% also can benefit from it. So for now, my focus has been on the top and the bottom half of the bottom part of the class to improve the outcomes for these groups. But overall, I think we'll be able to improve the outcomes of everyone. There's a course that you can take on the Catalyst Academy. We also have a webinar series that you can learn about the flipped classrooms. Now, you can go to classroomsalon.org and sign up for an account. Use the code CMU. Go to classroomsalon.org and create an account, and you can play with this product. If you have any questions, you can send me email. My email is Guna, Guna, at Andrew, andrew.cmu.edu. Thank you.